So what's happening YouTube, the world and everyone else? It's me again currently doing my UFC predictions. This time it's for UFC on versus 1, which will take place on Saturday the 21st of March 2010 at the First Bank Center in Greenfield, Colorado. I was going to say something else in, but I won't. But anyway, it's Brandon Vera versus John Jones. This is the main fight on the card. So let's go through the card. The televised card anyway. Brandon Vera versus John Jones. Brandon Vera's 6'2", he's got an 11-4 record. Brandon Vera's got some sick Muay Thai. In his last few fights, he's paced himself well. He's been throwing them deadly kicks, man. But yeah, he's got underrated wrestling. He's got good jiu-jitsu as well. I think he's a brown belt under Lloyd Irvin, so you know it's legit. And his last fight, it was a decision loss to Randy Couture, which was a bit debatable. A lot of people thought, including myself and Farah, won the fight, but then thinking about it, Randy did win the fight. But yeah, Brandon Vera was one of those young guns coming up. Obviously, he took a break over contract disputes and everything, then came back, and he's come back better. In his last 5 fights, he's had 3 wins and 2 losses. And he's fighting John Bones Jones, who's got a 9-1 record. He's 6'4". In a way, John Jones reminds me of Brandon Vera when he first came into the UFC. He was like the young gun, just taking everyone out, you know what I mean? So John Jones is sort of like a mirror image of Brandon Vera, how he used to be. But John Jones is training at Greg Jackson's camp. Very unorthodox. Throws everything, spinning back elbows, whatever else you can think of. He's got great takedowns and great throws as well. Yeah, he's some sick throws actually. John Jones is the character you'd want to be in a game. Yeah, he'd be the one with the flashy moves that you think in Street Fighter 10. You'd think, wow, John Jones, I'd pick him because he's doing all this crazy backflip, spinning elbow. He'd be the character you'd want to be, that I'd want to be anyway. In his last fight, he was fighting Matt Hamill. He was beating Matt Hamill up until he got to the mount and started doing the elbows. You're not allowed. But yeah, he was kicking his ass anyway. In his last 5 fights, he's had 4 wins and 1 loss. The 1 loss was the DQ loss. This would be his first, I think, real test against Vera. Vera's no joke, and I think this would be a really good fight. Could have been a main event on a proper UFC card as well. But for this fight, I'm gonna go with the experience and of Vera. So I'm gonna pick Vera just to pick it out via decision. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna pick. Brandon Vera to win. The next fight, we've got Junior Dos Santos versus Gabriel Gonzaga. Junior Dos Santos is 6'4". He fights out of Team Nogueira, which is affiliated with Black House. He's got a 10-1 record. This guy's like a freight train. He comes out really fast. He's a heavy hitter. All of his fights have been finished. He finishes his fights. He's just a very, very fast guy. Comes out quick. Hit, bang, bang, bang. Heavy hands, very heavy hands. Not seen his ground game yet, so I'm not sure about that. But in his last 5 fights, all of them have been wins, and he's finished everyone. And he's fighting a veteran in Gabriel Gonzaga, who's 6'2", he's got an 11-4 record. Why did I say veteran? I'm not sure. But anyway, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he's got decent stand-up and kicks, as Crow Cop found out with that deadly hard kick to the head that sent Manchester quiet. He's only lost to really top 10 heavyweights recently. Well, the last few fights anyway. In his last fight, he was fighting Christian. I can't pronounce the guy's name. Tushner. Bit of a debatable fight because Tushner or whatever his name is got knee in the balls, but Gonzaga carried on. Anyway, in Gonzaga's last 5 fights, he's had 3 wins and 2 losses. Anyway, for this fight, I'm going to pick Junior Dos Santos. I think he's going to come out really fast, and I think Gonzaga is going to get clipped exactly the way he got clipped against Shane Carwin, unless he takes it to the floor, because he stood up and traded with Shane Carwin. Had the better him for about 10 seconds, and Carwin threw a straight right and knocked him over. But I'm picking Dos Santos because Dos Santos kicked up Gil Idol in his last fight, and I didn't see that happening. On to our next fight. The next fight is Cheick Kongo versus Paul Buentello, Cheick Kongo, 6'4", 46-1 record, built like a flipping Greek god anyway, just muscles and pam pam pam. Guy's cut, good striker. Although he doesn't, I haven't seen him as fast. He doesn't throw many combinations. It's more bam, bam. You know, he doesn't really throw the combos as much. He's not really got any takedown defense or any submission ability. Not that I've seen anyway. His last fight was a loss to Frank Mir. Frank Mir just gave him a left hook, dropped him, then choked him out. In his last 5 fights, he had 3 wins and 2 losses. I'd say, me personally, I don't know if it's people around me, but the commentators in the UFC slightly overrated him. But he's fighting a veteran in Paul Buentello, who's 6'2", who's got a 27-11 record. Paul Buentello, for me, is the better striker than Cheick Kongo. Paul Buentello's got some sick hands. He reminds me of one of them, you know when you see a boxing film, old-style boxer that bounces around the ring and do some rope-a-dope and all that business. That's what Paul Buentello reminds me of. This guy likes to bang. He's not afraid to bang. He can submit as well. He has got submission wins in his record. Although he might have a bit of ring rust because he only fought twice in 2009. In his last fight, he fought against Stefan Struve, which was a decent fight, and he was unlucky to lose via majority decision. But in his last 5 fights, he's had 3 wins and 2 losses. But for this fight, I'm going to pick Paul Buentello for the simple fact is he can throw more combinations and he does have knockout power. Cheick Kongo doesn't throw the combos and probably will get taken down. I think Buentello may take him down if he gets bored. But anyway, I'm picking Paul Buentello to win that fight. Next fight on the card, I'm not bothered about this fight at all. I don't know why it's on the main card. I don't know why it's going to be televised. Oh yeah, I do actually. Probably because one of them is going to get knocked out. Guaranteed. Alessio Sakura versus James Irvin. I'm not too bothered about this fight because it doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not really bothered. But I'm going to pick James Irvin to win that fight by a knockout. Alessio Sakura does not interest me one bit. Everyone talks about it. When we came into the UFC, everyone was talking about his boxing. Boring, don't like it. I don't hate the guy or anything, I just don't like watching him. Boring. But anyway, I'm picking James Irvin. I'll go straight on to the fight that should have been on the main card, which is Clay Guida versus Shannon Gogarty. Shannon Gogarty. Clay Guida, 25-11 record, 5'7". Guy's like the MMA Tasmanian devil. This guy's crazy, but I love the guy. He's got sick cardio, good takedowns, great wrestling. He's training at Greg Jackson's camp now, so his stamina should have improved. His last fight was a loss to Kenyon Florian, who finishes fights. But in his last 5 fights, he's had 3 wins and 2 losses. And he's fighting Shannon Gogarty, 12-4 record. He's 5'10". Most of his wins are via submission, although in his last few fights he tends to get submitted as well. His last fight was a loss against Terry Etten. In his last 5 fights, he had 3 wins and 2 losses. But for this fight, you have not. Gogarty hasn't fought anyone like Clay Guida. Clay Guida will win this via either decision or ground and pound, or he might actually submit Gogarty. But I'm picking Clay Guida. But anyway, those are my picks and my opinions. Follow me on Twitter with the same username, Choku, and just rate, comment, leave whatever you want below. Follow me on Twitter again, like I said before, and I'm repping these lot today. Mixed Martial Marketing. Peace.